You're listening to the Longer Haul Youth Ministry Podcast with Jody Livingston and Chris Trent, episode number 57.
Man, this water tastes good.
Yeah, shut up.
Welcome to the Longer Haul Youth Ministry Podcast, helping you survive and thrive in youth ministry. And now, your hosts, Jody Livingston and Chris Trent.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the show today. Thanks for tuning in and listening wherever you are and wherever this finds you. Thanks for making this podcast episode today a part of your day. And if it's your first time listening, welcome to the show. We're certainly glad you're here today. And if it's not, and you're a glutton for punishment and you just keep coming back, well, thanks for coming on back.
Jody, I'm sorry I made fun of you for not having water on the intro. I just want to apologize in front of everybody.
You're not sorry. I forgot. I just forgot, man. I'm still new at this.
Dude, Jody and I, man, we're a couple of youth pastors. We hang out with teenagers as youth pastors, love pointing teenagers to Jesus, and every Sunday, every Wednesday, and throughout the week, we're hanging out with kids just like you. So thanks for listening, man. We appreciate you jumping in with us, and hopefully we can keep doing all this together.
Absolutely. You can find us beyond the podcast on the Twitter sphere at Jody Livingston and at Chris Trent. It's Jody with a Y, Chris with a C, and I don't know what else. Or over on the Facebook at the Longer Haul. All of the links and resources, which there's a bunch of them today, you can find on the show notes page over at thelongerhaul.com/episode 057. thelongerhaul.com/057. And we would ask that if you are enjoying the show, finding it helpful, that you would tell somebody. It's always good. And also subscribe to the show through iTunes or your favorite podcast player or on Google Play or whatever, however you listen, so that you can catch the podcast each and every week as they come out.
Hey, speaking of people who subscribe, Jody, I've got some shout outs, bro. I got some shout outs.
All right.
So first of all, I just want to give a shout out to all the people who are listening in their cars. Do you listen to podcasts in your cars, Jody?
Yes. It depends. If I've got the kids with me, I don't. And if I'm on the motorcycle, I don't.
Yeah. I forgot about the motorcycle. That'd be weird. Yeah. So to all the car people, to all the podcast car people, man, listen, shout out to you. Do me a favor. Give a little honk of your horn right now. Just share the love. A little horn honking there. Yeah, awesome, great, thank you.
We have lots of friends in El Salvador. We used to go down there. We went for several years. We took students there, and of course they honk the horn like crazy there. So, but there's a method to it. Like one honk is like a, oh hey there. Two honks is like a polite, you should pay attention. Three honks, bad. If you get three honks, I mean, it's basically like getting the finger. So you just don't get three honks. So if you're driving and honking, keep it to one or two. That's what we're saying.
I recently honked the horn at a guy. We're totally off rail here, but I recently.
Are you a horn honker?
Oh, totally. And because nowadays with everybody looking at their phone, you're sitting there and they're like, "Dude, go for the love, go!"
Yeah.
And yeah. I recently honked the horn at a guy, and dude got out of the car and just started dancing. It was the most epic response ever. Like I actually forgave the guy immediately because it was so entertaining.
But did he forgive you?
I don't know. I don't care. I'm just glad he didn't get mad and come shoot me or something crazy, But yeah, it was.
Horn honking. We had a flat tire last night on our van. Like we were coming.
Really? Home. No way, bro.
Yeah, and so I got to the gas station to put air in it because it was just low. It just seemed low. And sure enough, there's a car parked like right by the free air thing here at the gas station. So I'm like waiting. Guy's in the car. Like, gosh, he's never going to leave. So we pull up as close as we can to the thing. I pull up like basically like right alongside his car, kind of, and I get out. Well, our van has this thing where when you inflate the tires, when it gets to the correct pressure, the horn honks, right? And I forgot about this. So I'm sitting here like filling up the tire. The guy's still in the car, and I'm kind of like, gosh, dude, if you're not gonna get air, get out of the way. So I'm filling up the tire. Sure enough, it hits the right, the air pressure, and it beep beep. And you know what happens, right? Guy gets out of his car. He's like, "You honking at me?" I'm like, no, man, I'm just trying to get air. My car does it.
Listen, my horn goes off.
Like, I'm not even in the car. I can't honk. I don't know what you're talking about. Look, watch. I was like, if you'll just stand here, I'll show you when I honk the other side. So I made the guy stand there while I fill up the other tire until it honked.
That is epic. That's like that. Do you listen to Brian Regan, the comedian?
Yeah.
He's got a great
I
episode.
love Brian Regan.
The horn honking.
Yeah. Excuse me. Go team.
Yeah.
Score a goal unit. Defeat the opponent.
Funny stuff. So, hey, I have 2 more shout outs. I've got 2. So way back 5 episodes, 6 episodes, like in our first episode, we threw out the challenge if anybody wanted a chance to win one of the books that I wrote.
And they came out in droves.
Yeah, 2 guys did. Thank you. So shout out to the winners though, and I am sending those soon. Matthew Hart, what up, Matthew?
He's pumped.
So yeah, man, I'm totally going to send Matthew a book, and also
Shiloh. Are you going to sign it?
See, that part's weird to me.
Sign the book.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I could, but it just feels weird, But
I think you have to now because I brought it up.
Yeah, thanks for making that awkward. And then Shiloh Pipping, I think it's Pipping. I mean, it's spelled Pipping, so Pipping, not piping, probably, right? I don't know. But Shiloh, hey, thanks for listening as well. And Matthew and Shiloh sending your books out to you. So there you go. I
feel like, so just to follow up from last week, and just to clarify for those listening, it has been confirmed that Philip, who we talked about last week.
Oh, is this your shout out? This is like a shout out to the shout out of last week is what this is.
Philip has confirmed to me that Starbucks also misspells his name. Actually, he went up to me and said that Wendy's, he went into Wendy's and they asked for a name, and Wendy's misspelled his name like atrociously.
Yeah.
So I feel like Shiloh is probably in my same camp there. I feel like they misspell his name as well, or her name.
Maybe so. So yeah, hey, shout out. Love those people. Appreciate you guys listening. So good times. Hey, so check this out, Jody. Last week we also introduced this, and we just want to take a moment right now because we have a sponsor here on the Longer Haul. We're so appreciative of our new sponsor helping us out because it does take a little money to put this thing on, and as far as hosting and all that. So it was a huge blessing whenever Fund Nations and 52 Threads reached out to us, and we're willing to sponsor some episodes. So just want to say big time thanks to Fund Nations, 52 Threads. Listen, if you are in the need or in need of t-shirts for your youth ministry, I would just highly recommend. I use Fund Nations and 52 Threads. Jody, I think your kids have used them as well. They do all of our shirts here for our student ministry. They're fabulous. Bubba Crowder and his team they're just phenomenal. So you can totally trust them. So Fund Nations is their mission trip fundraising side of things. 52 Threads is their like student ministry, like your youth group type designs. And the most beautiful part about what they do is the artwork is always free. So you call them up and say, hey, I've got an idea. They'll do the design for you. And that part is free. There's no extra charge for that. And you also, if you end up getting your shirts from them, you end up getting to use that artwork for all of your promotion and everything, which is great. And they'll, go back and forth with you for a little bit. I mean, it's not like a deal where you have to take the first one. So highly recommend these guys. I use them. I trust them. Appreciate their support of our podcast. If you're in need of a t-shirt, be sure to mention that we sent you their way. That'd be awesome. You can reach them at fundthenations.com and 52threads.com. And big time support those guys. Good stuff.
Yeah, they're awesome. Sure, they're awesome. So We're talking resources today.
Resources. I got some good stuff. And I got a zinger at the end, bro, that's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. I can't even believe I'm going to say out loud what I'm going to say at the end.
I can't wait. Like, really. I'm excited.
Good times.
Yeah, so we're going to give you resources. Now, we understand that these things change from time to time. So we're hopeful. Our goal here is to do one of these every now and then, update the list as things change, as we find other resources that we like and use. And so hopefully this will be something to help you there in your youth ministry. You can take some of these and use them in your context, whatever that looks like, and find them helpful. So we'll link to all these again in the show notes page, which was thelongerhaul.com/episode 057. So are we good? We ready to dive in?
Let's do this thing.
All right. I'm going to cue. I said last week this wasn't music, and then I listened to it again, and it really is music.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll cue it anyway.
And now we're pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
All right. So resources.
Resources.
You go first,
dude. I've got all kinds. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Here's one. I'm going to start with the one I actually mentioned in the last episode, but it is a current, very practical resource that is super helpful. It's an app. So this is in the category of apps, and it is the Pensive app. And what this app does, and I'm finding it so helpful, if you are in the habit of emailing yourself reminders, in other words, on a Sunday morning, Wednesday night, or you're out and about and you're like, man, I need to remember that. You may have another plan, which is great. But for me, I always, because I keep a low email inbox, I email myself reminders. And so sure enough, somebody introduced me to this app. Shout out John Oden, by the way, if you're listening. What up, John? And so Pensive, it is phenomenal. It's Pensieve. But we'll link to it in the show notes page, or give a little link like we did last week, I'm sure. But man, Jody, I'm telling you, it's so practical for me right now. I could not talk about it. So we're talking about current resources that we're really using a lot, like right now, maybe, or things that are just kind of big for us. And for me, dude, I'm telling you, that is one that is really awesome. But Jody, I'm not going to, I forbid you to use it, since your email, is always like humongous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what is it right now? Go ahead. Let's give a report. Let's give an update.
Oh, no.
Come on, man. No. Come on. Let's look at it. Come on.
I don't remember what it was.
It was in the thousands last time. Surely it's below 1,000.
No, it's not. It's pretty close to where it was last week.
Okay. All right.
Which means, though, that I have gone through and deleted quite a bit, because I genuinely get a lot of email. So it's close. It's probably about the same. I won't say, but it's somewhere between 1,300 and 1,400.
Yeah.
1,300.
Right.
It's between 1,364 and 1,366.
Pray for Jody.
Yeah, if you need advice on how to manage email, I'm not your guy.
Jody, there's this great podcast I listened to recently about being organized, and maybe you should take a look.
I should.
So, hey, what kind of resource you got? Talk to me, man.
So
I need some gold in my life, man. Bring me some gold.
This is one, and this, now to be upfront, this won't work for everyone, and I recognize that. But this is a resource I really love, and we've mentioned this before. Actually, we did an entire podcast on this resource. I think it was even like maybe right out of the gate, like episode 2, maybe. It's changed names since then. They've kind of rebranded it to make it a little broader with where they're heading, but the app has just gotten better and better and better. And the app is called MinHub. The MinHub app, I think it was Youth Ministry Tracker originally. So I just had a conversation actually on in a Facebook group, somebody trying to find a way to track their attendance and things like that. So here's what it won't do. Let me start there. If and in a situation where maybe it wouldn't work, first of all, it's not free. Okay, so I'll say that too because everybody wants free stuff. It's like $10. It's worth every penny of it. But it won't. So if you're
episode 2, by the way, way back in episode 2.
Yeah, episode 2. That's what I thought.
Yep,
Kurt Libby,
you're right. Yep.
the man.
Yeah.
Youth pastor. So he designed this app for himself because they needed a better system and way to do that. And you can go back and listen to episode 2 and hear all about that. I'm not going to rehash that now. But if your church has church-wide tracking software that needs to work or sync with that, probably not going to work in that scenario or situation. But if you can do a standalone thing where you just need it or want it for your own sake, or you're going to export, maybe do a spreadsheet or something, then this is beautiful. So what I love about this app, and we do track church-wide, but we also use this for check-in, and then we just export like on our midweek or for events, especially like our stuff like that. We'll export that and transfer it over. But it allows the kids. So if you run this on like an iPad, it's also on Android now, but we have it set up on iPad. It allows the kids when they come in to enter all their information. So enter all their own information, parents' names, contacts, all that stuff, and it takes a picture of them, which is beautiful. And it's stored in there. Then what it does is every time they come in after that initial time that they've filled out that information, they just tap their picture to mark themselves here, and they kind of check themselves in. So we put like a volunteer over there, kind of getting everybody checked in as they come in. Well, what I love about it is, you always have those kids you can't quite remember their name, like they came that one time.
Oh yeah, totally.
And you're like, oh gosh, what was that kid's name? And so you're like, hey there, partner. But Buckaroo.
See, you're referencing Brian Regan again.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So now I can just pull it up and I can look and be like, oh, right, that was Alexis. So it's super good in that way. It syncs across multiple devices. If you've got the sync stuff set up, you can also take that master list and divide them up into smaller groups. So in theory, if all of your small groups had the app and they were syncing with that, which they can, it allows you to set up so you can sync to those. Then you could use that in small groups as well. Parents' information is in there as well, so you can access that. It will give you reminders of kids' birthdays, and you can text them. It, like when it pops up, it'll say, Chris Trent has a birthday today. I can click on that. It'll pull up you, and I can text you from the app. It goes through my normal phone.
Yeah, that's great.
So it allows me, so you like never forget a kid's birthday. You can set up reoccurring events, and it has beautiful statistics. Like the layout of the stats is amazing. So you can see, like, are you trending up? Are you trending down? And if you use it over a period of time, you can see, and you can start seeing those patterns. Like, oh, we know in the spring things go crazy. We slump a bit in March, but then we rebound or whatever. So it's pretty awesome. Again, I think it's like $10 in the App Store for that. And then if you want the sync, like if you want it to sync, you can pay a little more, but you don't have to use the sync thing if you're just using a single device. But it is it's amazing. It's very well designed, and they're working on a few other offshoots of it as well. But it's what I appreciate is that it's designed and built by a youth pastor for youth pastors. So it's like it hits where it needs to hit. You know what I'm saying? So that's the Men Hub app, and we'll link to that too.
Man, that's great. Yeah, that sounds good. I love the idea of them doing, gosh, we do a lot of cool stuff, but that's not one of them. I mean, a matter of fact, I really am going, man, why am I having kids fill out paper visitor slips? Like that would be amazing. And then just transfer that information over from paper or from the iPad, whatever. I mean, that'd be great. And to get a picture of them on the spot. Stop.
No, it's good.
Dang, why am I not doing that?
And really, like I said, we just export to the spreadsheet.
You taught me something there today, Jody.
Look at that. If nobody else gets helped, I know what not to get for my inbox, and you know what to get for your check-in.
There it is.
So far. And we're only 2 in.
All right. I've got a few more, but this one's good. Hey, how about a book current book that I just read, finished reading it, that I love. I may have even mentioned it in the last few episodes because I like it that much. But man, oh man, oh man. So here's a current book resource that I think might be a good one for you. And I'm even going to throw in a free lesson that I wrote out of just inspiration from the book for parents. But here it is. So Erwin McManus, The Last Arrow. Seen this book, Jody, by chance?
Yeah. I've not read it yet.
Yeah. So, he's a little artsy and everything, you got to kind of have to take that in. But man, dude, this particular book is so good. And and I think what I liked about it most when I read it, it's one of these, just kind of get you amped up, say, hey man, live your life strong, live your life for Jesus hard, and ultimately he bases the entire book on this idea from this little story in 2 Kings, chapter 13, where Elijah is about to die and Jehoash the king comes to him, and it ends up resulting in Elijah. It's kind of a weird story. Elijah's like, hey, throw fire an arrow out the window. Hey, okay, as a result of you firing that out the window, you're going to have victory. And then he says, now strike the ground with your arrows. And Jehoash strikes the ground, but he stops after 3. He doesn't keep striking. He just stops after 3. And he ends up, and as a result, Elijah gets kind of angry and it's like, why did you stop? Why didn't you keep going? Now you're only going to have 3 victories, and you could have many more or whatever. So what Erwin does, Erwin, yeah, I like him on first name basis. You know what Erwin, my friend Erwin does. What Erwin does in this, though, he uses that to say, man, I want to live my life to the very last arrow. Like I just want to, I want to have, when it comes down to it, at the end of my life, I don't want to have any arrows left in my quiver. That's a great word. In my quiver, I just want to live it all out, and I like that. I love that idea. And the book is just super inspirational when it comes to that, and super encouraging. I tell you what I did though out of that. And hey, if you want a copy of it, I'll email you the exact lesson. But you got to email. And Jody, I know you're going to want to put it in the show notes page as a PDF, but
yeah, I am.
Yeah, we're not going to. So just email me, chris@thelongerhaul.com, and I will send you this parenting. And what I did was I was inspired to do a thing, parenting to the very last arrow. And I taught this to some parents where it really was just a time for me to say, hey, parents, man, when it comes to parents, so these are all parents of teenagers. And if you're not a parent, and you're not a parent of a teenager especially, one thing that you have to understand, when you become a parent of a teenager, you start to get that feeling of, man, the light at the end of the tunnel. College is coming. Empty nest is coming. So what I talked with those parents about in that lesson that I did was just saying, man, I want to parent to the very last arrow. Like I want to go all out in this thing. So I ended up doing that little, and it turned out it was pretty fun little deal. And I'm happy to share it. Somebody just needs to email me. Just say, hey, Chris, what up? I'm listening. Could you send me that? And I'll send you a PDF. Contrary to Jody's wish that I put it on the show notes page.
One day I'll convince you. One day I'll convince you.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. That's good.
The Last Arrow by Rowan. It's good. Good stuff.
I like books. I'm a fan of books. Okay, so here's a software that we use.
You better go big. I'm just going to throw this out there. My next 2 are just like, you better bring something big, and because
hey man, this isn't a competition here. We're trying to help people.
Are you? Okay, yeah.
I am. I don't know what you're trying to do.
I'm trying to win, bro. I'm trying to win.
What are you winning? This isn't like a race.
That's true.
No arrows here. Did you go out in your front yard and like stick all your arrows in the ground before this podcast episode so you could win?
Striking my arrows. Yeah. Okay. What you got?
Okay. So this is a software we use. Now we're using this on a Mac. So it's a Mac software, but there is a PC equivalent, and I'll give you that too. It's a software called Screencast. And so Screencast, I actually use this in the ministry a lot, and also use this. I use this a lot for the longer haul stuff. So what Screencast allows you to do is record your screen on your computer, But and like the latest update of Screencast will actually even allow you to do, or like I guess 2 updates ago, from your phone. So if you wanted to say you've got like an app that you're trying to show how to use or whatever, and you wanted to like actually demo that for parents, and you want to do a little recording of that, you can do it on that. Or if you are trying to do like a training, like we do a lot of our child protection trainings and stuff like that, we would kind of record that. So it's just PowerPoint slides and, a microphone, and you're just kind of teaching over the top of those slides. But aside from being amazing at that, it's also just a really great video editor. It's pretty simple to use, but it really does a good job of editing video. So some of you guys are listening are like, oh my gosh, no, Adobe. Okay. But if you can't do that, and you can't afford that, or you don't have time to do that, or you're not smart enough like me to do that, Screencast is a great option. It does some cool stuff too. Like so if I am I'm trying to show parents where to find something on the website, and I want to do a bit of that. I
got to jump in here, Jody. Yeah. And here's what's beautiful about what you're saying. And I would just say, if you're one of our listeners right now, say in your 20s, or maybe new in youth ministry, even, part of the big secret, sometimes you may listen to some guys on the podcast or to have a podcast, or you may go to some training somewhere and you see somebody doing a training, or a breakout somewhere at some conference. Part of the secret to that is you just got to do, and you can't wait around. And so in that, this Screencast, let me tell you, if you've got parents in your church, and they have questions about, man, how do I set parental controls on an iPhone?
Yes.
Or how do I set on Instagram that to private? Or I don't even understand this, whatever. Well, if you were to take and just, number one, all of this is, most of Screencast, does it cost anything?
Yeah, it's like $100, but it's a one-time thing. Right?
Oh, it's like you buy it. Okay.
You just buy it.
So here's the thing. But then again, you're not buying it personally, but especially if you're going to use that as a resource, because what you could do there is you could turn around and simply go on and make a student ministry YouTube channel for yourself for free, right? And then upload some of these, just make a training video.
Yeah.
And man, your parents, I'm telling you, your parents are going to think you are a rock star.
And so what happens a lot of times is you'll find, if you pay attention, you'll realize you're getting asked the same questions over and over and over and over. And so when I start hearing the same question repeatedly, I go, I could probably answer this with a video, and it'd be a little more, even more thorough than me trying to explain it to you right now. You could actually see that happening. And so whether it's trainings for your team or your volunteers or for parents, that's, I can't find the release form, or where do I sign up for whatever? Where's the link for, the calendar? You can just show them and do that. What I like about it too, is you can do some really cool stuff where you can zoom in on certain parts. Like as you're going through, you like zoom in the bottom corner, or like you can highlight the mouse so they can see the mouse button there, or when you click. But you can also,
cool, man. I like it.
It'll also, as you're typing, it'll bring up the keys that you're typing if you need them to see that. But say you're putting in an email or password, or there's information that's sensitive you don't want them to see, you can also go in and blur that so they can't see it. So you can kind of protect the privacy too. So it's good. Screencast is that. I think the PC version is called Camtasia. It's a pretty close equivalent, Camtasia. And I would say if you like the idea of doing really short, like 5 minutes or less things, and you can't really swing for the fences and get and pay for the software, another option for you would be one called Jing, which is Jing, and it will allow you to do very simple screen recordings as well. I think it has to be under 5 minutes, and then upload it for free, and then you just send them the link and they can watch it. So, but all the same, man, I cannot tell you how much I use Screencast, and you just start finding all kinds of cool ways to use it once you have it. So
you should totally put all that in the show notes page. That's what you should do.
I'll probably have them email me so I can give them a PDF that says screencast.
I'm talking about
a fancy font with like 90s clip art.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you bought that, or you fell into that bait. That's good. Are you done? Can I go?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yep.
All right, so let's talk gear. This is under the category of gear. Talking about resources, this is gear. I'm not lying when I tell you almost every time I am around youth pastors in any type of conference setting, any type of just get together, whatever. If I have this particular gear with me, I'm not kidding you, I almost always get asked about it.
Are you about to do a magic trick?
Nope, I am not. And so, but stick around. My book bag, I'm just throwing it out there. I know everybody loves their own book bag or whatever, but I'm just going to tell you right now, my book bag that I discovered by going into one of these like EDC type shops or whatever.
I don't even know what that is.
Everyday carry. It's like all these survivalist type people. Yeah. Anyway, and I'm not kind of into that stuff, but yeah. Okay. So, but that said, the Max Pedition book bag. I use the Sitka is what I use. It's a sling bag, but here's what's amazing about this book bag. First of all, it's incredibly rugged. I've had this thing for like 4 or 5 years now, and it's still going strong. Tons of pockets. But then the beautiful part is they have all of these little accessory type add-on things that you can do. Man, if you're in the market for a book bag, I know this is kind of cheesy sounding, but dude, I'm telling you, this book bag is in 20 something years of youth ministry, it is hands down the best book bag I've ever owned. And I can't even imagine getting anything else right now. So just, hey, I got no dog in this hunt, but I'm just telling you, and check out the Sitka. It's like SITK. It's a sling bag, and it's the one strap, but I got tons of them. And one of my other buddies ended up buying one that's just phenomenal. And you can add like little accessories to it, and like I added a water bottle thing and all that. So it's super cool, man. Max Pedition. You've seen my book bag.
Yeah.
It's a good book bag.
Yeah, I'm tempted to tell a story about a time I went into one of those places, like the prepper place, but I won't get us sidetracked there.
Yeah, that's great.
But it was scary. I just wanted a knife, man. I wanted to buy a knife. And
Seriously.
I got way more than I asked for, and I left with nothing quickly. So, yeah, book bag's important. I got a $10 too. I like.
Those are good.
Yeah. It's waterproof, so it's good for the bike. Okay, so you ready? We good?
Yep, good.
All right, I'm going to throw out, this is an app that I use, and this is more for, well, I say this is more personal, but it certainly can be used in your group if you encourage your students to do it. But this is an app. It's an iPhone app. I don't know if there's an Android or not. So I'm sorry if you use an Android. I still like you. I just don't understand you. It's an app called Vert.
Why you want to alienate some of our listeners? I love our.
I don't know what goes on an Android phone because I don't have one. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand what.
I don't either, but I'm sure they're good.
I like them. I mean,
freedom, man. I tell you, I get sick of Apple locking everything down. I can tell you that.
I used to jailbreak my iPhone all the time.
Yeah,
but then
that does not surprise me.
And I just got tired of doing it. So
yeah. Okay. So what app you got?
It's called Verses, like VERSES. Bible Verses.
Is it a Bible app? Is this like a make us all feel guilty for not memorizing scripture kind of thing?
No, it's to help you memorize scripture, so you don't have to feel guilty.
There you
go. So this is a great app for scripture memory. If you've not seen it, they have several kind of pre-done verses or sections if you wanted to use them. Different based around different themes, but you can also add your own. So if you're adding, if you're like, oh man, I really wanted to, like, I set out to memorize the book of Colossians, and it was fantastic. The problem was I did it a few years ago as well, but I was trying to do it in the New American Standard before, and this time around I was trying to do it in the ESV, and they're just close enough that it was messing me up, so I had to go back. But what it does is it gives you all kinds of activities, so it kind of makes a game out of it, of things so maybe the first one you're reordering sections of it, right? And then
that's cool.
And then you're like filling in the blanks, and then you're filling in more blanks, and then you're filling in more blanks, and then eventually you get to where it's just blank, and you're just having to hit like the first letter of each word. And it tracks your progress and kind of has some memory health, so it goes back and it revisits previous passages that you've worked on memorizing. So you can kind of see progress, but it makes it fun. Like it really is kind of fun to go through the process. But what's really cool about it as well is that you can do it together. So like if you and somebody else and you decided, hey, or if you have let's say you have a small group of guys in our case, and we said, hey, let's try to memorize, I don't know, Ephesians 2 or whatever, Romans 8. And so you could kind of go set that up, and then they could come in and you can see each other and your progress. So you kind of hold each other accountable as you're seeing how you're going through there, and how everybody's doing on it. It's very clean. For me, it's a big thing. I want to see, when I'm looking at an app, I want it to look nice. I want it to feel clean. I want it to be intuitive. It can't be, if I have to work really hard to figure it out, I'm probably just going to delete it and find another one. It's simple in how it's laid out, very clean, and it's been really good. I enjoy it a lot. It's way better than the old method that I used to use, which still works, of just like note cards in my pocket. Because those often would get left and washed in my pants. And this doesn't, because it's on my phone.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
My wife does that. She's way more spiritual than me. I know you're probably not surprised by that since we've hung out, but
well, you're a middle school pastor, so
I'm terrible at it. I mean, I am, but she uses an app similar to that, Fighterverse. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but yeah, man, it's good. All right, well, cool. All right, there you go. Okay, I got one more.
This is the magic trick.
I'm gonna go ahead and make this. I'm gonna come out with it. You've been dogging me about this. I'm gonna reveal. So it's not a magic trick. I can't do a trick on that. But here's what I want to say about magic and the art of illusions. All right. So yes, I really do. Technically, I guess I would be a magician in a lot of ways. So all right. So that said,
have you been paid to do magic ever?
Yeah. Yes, multiple times.
I got a professional.
I got a gig coming up in like a couple of weeks at an elementary school.
I've told you this because, I mean, you do magic to a level I don't, but especially when I worked in camp ministry or camping stuff, I did tons of magic.
Yeah. And good. Okay.
I was given in El Salvador a name, right? Jody. It was Jody the Magnifico.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I think they're all.
So technically I performed worldwide, even though it was really just El Salvador in here. So I think Honduras,
right, so
Central America.
If you have zero interest in magic, hit the skip 30 seconds a couple times and go on ahead. But here's the deal. If you have any interest in this, let me tell you the win here for you. There's going to come a day, if you're a younger youth pastor listening, there's going to come a day where having a conversation, like say when you get in your 40s, for instance, where walking up to a group of kids and having a conversation sometimes is a little bit more challenging. And that said, it's nice to have tools. And for me, this has been a tool. Number one, I actually really enjoy watching and doing magic. I was a guy that my grandfather used to, do card tricks on me sitting in the floor in his home. And in college, I learned a couple, decent little card tricks. And then one year, Wendy gave me a card trick book in my stocking. And so I learned a couple other basic things. But listen, it's just a great tool to have around teenagers. Kids are sitting at camp, they're playing cards, you grab their deck of cards, you knock out a couple big tricks. Awesome. You're on a mission trip. Kids in lower income type settings don't really ever see real magicians. So I just thought I would give you just a couple of resources. If you have any interest, here are a couple of resources for you that would help you really get started. And the first thing I would say is stay off of YouTube. Don't go to YouTube to do all this because you're just not getting a good foundation with that. So here are two solid foundational type things that I promise you, if you got serious and wanted to really learn, if you took the time, if you have any interest in this at all, if you took the time to learn a couple of these, it would take you next level. Number one would be this DVD, because I'm a visual learner. So when I learned about these DVDs, it took me to the next level. So number one is a DVD called Born to Perform Card Magic. Both of these, by the way, can be found on penguinmagic.com.
And through the link on our show notes page.
Yeah, thank you. So Born to Perform Card Magic would be the first one by O.Z. Perlman. It is a complete foundational DVD course on card magic. You will walk away with 5 ridiculously solid that I still use and all the time. But let me give you a tip. If you do it, don't skip ahead to the tricks and just learn how to do tricks. Actually work on the fundamentals that he talks about in there. So this is next level magic stuff, man. If you just want to do like hey, here's a little card trick that's based on math, stick with that if that's what you want to do. Just don't do that one on me because I can't stand this. Okay, number 2. This was, dude, and I think you do these. This right here, I'm telling you, because it packs. The great thing about card magic, throw a deck of cards in your book bag, you're good to go. Here's the other thing though, that this one, if you ever, I'm telling you, this is so good. I've used this so many times. But sponge balls. Yes. So if you've ever seen anybody do like the little red sponge balls,
they're my jam.
If you take the time to learn the routine, there's this amazing DVD by Jay Nobilizada, and it's also on Penguin Magic, called Sponged. And again, 4 little sponge balls. You can pack them anywhere. They fit in your pocket. And you are good to go for some entertainment for a little bit. And it just helps kids have a great time, but adults love it as well. Super, super, super good. Dude, and I totally just thought of one that I don't even know if I want to say this out loud, but I just thought of one that I'll say. You would just need to take the time to research this one. There is a app. This is not so much magic as much as it is a like little prank that you can play. And there's an app that's phenomenal. And it's basically a spider trick. And so have you seen that trick where the person puts their hand, flips their hand, and there's a spider on their hand all of a sudden?
Yeah.
So this app, I use it all the time. This is the third little tip here on this is, it's called My Pet Boris, Boris. And, you use your iPhone with it and you set it on their hand and the spider comes out on the screen. And then at the end, it teaches you how to like kind of secretly put a spider on their hand with, like a glue dot. And then you tell them like, okay, then you take the iPhone, they flip their hand over. And when they flip their hand over, that spider's on the back of their hand. And dude, it's so good. It's like youth pastor, so good for a youth pastor because it's just kind of funny type stuff. And so yeah, I'd be happy to, if anybody out there wants more info, want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to chat with you about that. It really is a fun hobby for me. And I'm not kidding. It's a great tool in my toolbox, as nerdy as it is. And not everybody digs it, which is great. That's fine. But for the kids that do, it is a fabulous tool that I have in my arsenal. And it's good.
No, I agree. And the cool thing about it is I'm joking about the El Salvador thing and Honduras thing, but like a good trick can break through language barrier. It can break through like just about anything. And that's why I love sponge balls. because I feel like sometimes you do a card trick and they automatically assume, oh, it's a trick deck, or that's not a normal deck of cards. Even if you use their deck, they feel like you switch something. But the sponge balls, that stuff's happening like in their hand, so they can't.
Oh yeah, it's magic in hands. And my goal with cards is, I want to be able to take any deck and do. And there are some great gimmicky decks out there, gimmicks, which are great. But
yeah,
I want to be able to take any deck and do, 5 to 10 like ridiculously good card tricks. And I will tell you, and this is not the only way this could happen, but I do have a great, there was a great moment where I had this one girl in middle school. Her parents like literally made her get on the bus, bro, for this trip. And she's just crying. And it was one of those type deals. And we got going, and about 20 minutes into the trip, I just went over to her. I sat down and said, "Hey, I do magic. Would you like to see some magic tricks?" And at that moment, it just worked. There could have been other ways to do that. That could have been a crossword puzzle. I don't know. But for me, man, it was just a great tool in my toolbox. And again, if you have a leaning towards it, give it a shot, man. And dude, if you go on Penguin Magic, you'll have a blast. There's so much crazy stuff on there. Again, I don't get any, thing from that. I'm just sharing the love. So yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah. There was a great little magic shop when we lived in Raleigh, and every time I drove by, I had to stop. It's like I couldn't stop. I couldn't help but stop, had to.
Well, the stinky, gosh, we're going to get into magic nerddom here. The stinky thing is, those have all, there's not many shops left.
Yeah.
And if the ones that are left are typically not great, to be honest with you. But
agreed.
But don't freak out when you look at the price, by the way. Both those things I just recommended, they're not like screencast expensive, but they are you like that?
Yeah, you're funny.
But they're it's like 20 and 20 and 30. I think the Born to Perform is like $30, but I'm telling you, it's worth $100.
Yeah, I mean, so the great thing about those is that you're not just paying for like a single trick, right? You're getting multiple tricks.
Yeah, big time.
So that's how, I mean, it may seem expensive, but man, I mean, some of those gimmick stuff are really expensive for one.
Yeah, totally. You could drop some major bucks on this kind of stuff. And listen, if you do a deep dive into it, you'll be calling me for counseling. I mean, it's like, like I've done a terrible deep dive into the magic community. Anyway,
it's fun though.
It's good.
It's fun.
Good stuff. Well, hey, cool. Great resources, man. Fun.
Yeah, dude.
Fun times.
That's hopefully those, you find some of those helpful, and you can jump in and use those. Let us know. Hey, if you've got resources maybe that kind of are your go-tos that we didn't mention, or that we don't know about, man, let us know. Shoot us a message either on the Facebook page, you can leave a comment on the show notes page. You can message us on Twitter. You can email Chris.
That's fun. You're a funny guy. You're cracking me up.
Yeah, but just let us know. Resources, man, we all want to learn and grow and get those. And so any resources that we can get along the way are really helpful. So, anything you want to throw in there before?
Yeah, well, hey, just don't forget, if you're in the market for some t-shirts, man, for your group, don't forget our sponsor, 52 Threads and Fund the Nations. They are amazing. They would love to work for you. So just go on their website and reach out to those guys, and I'm sure they will hook you up. If you don't get a good deal from them, you let me know. But I'm telling you, they're awesome. So, and I trust them. I used them myself, and feel great about the fact they're helping us out. So good times, man. So if you need t-shirts, check those folks out. Good stuff.
Absolutely. And make sure you subscribe to the show. Head over to the show notes page at thelongerhaul.com/episode 057. While you're there, check out all the links and stuff that we have mentioned here. Jump on the mailing list if you're not on it. There's lots of cool things to do that will help you. And I think that'll do it for this episode.
So great, man. Good times. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you big time.
Later.
Thanks for listening to the Longer Haul Youth Ministry Podcast at www.thelongerhaul.com.